First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for being here, and we appreciate you coming. We know this is a holiday week, but we really appreciate you prioritizing your attendance at this convening. We, as the Coordination Hub and on behalf of the National Science Foundation, are extremely excited about what we're going to be engaged in over the next 2 days. And so we think it's really important that you're here. We hope you walk away feeling the same way, and that you'll be able to walk away with a lot of resources and new network connections within this great group of resources that we have assembled here across the whole Includes community. I just wanted to lay out a couple of the broad goals for the convening for the next 2 days. It's a short amount of time and a very ambitious agenda if you've taken an opportunity to flip through the agenda. First and foremost, as this is really the first inaugural meeting of the Includes National Network, we really want to take this opportunity to foster network connections and development. Really build a sense of community, have you all recognize your own personal role, and also the role of the network in the national level conversation around broadening participation in STEM. Additionally, we're all involved in a type of work that is very different than a lot of the broadening participation work that's happening out there. And everybody knows that we're involved in work that engages the 5 elements of collaborative infrastructure. And so we really want to reinforce and expand the capacities of the elements of collaborative infrastructure. So we'll spend a lot of time in sessions talking about shared vision, partnerships, shared measurement and goals and metrics, leadership and communication, and then the ever important expansion, sustainability, and scale of all the work that we're engaged in. Just a couple house cleaning items before we get off and rolling. I do want to draw your attention to the agenda in the book, in the program that you've received. As you can see, in the next day and a half, we have a lot of different activities happening. There will be a lot of opportunities for concurrent sessions. We do have sessions where there will be plenary speakers, and we'll all be assembled in a large group like this in this room. But then quite quickly, we will throw up some walls, have people spread out to other rooms, and really spend a bulk of time at this convening talking with each other, meeting each other, having more intimate conversations around some of the opportunities and challenges and resources associated with the work that we're all engaged in. So please do have your program handy at all times. It'll tell you where to go. There's a map in the back that has a layout of the hotel. And if you see anybody with a name tag that has a blue ribbon on it, these are Coordination Hub personnel, and so please do come up to us and ask us any questions that you might have about where to go, when something's happening, if you need any assistance with anything. We are the people to ask, so please do seek us out and bother us. We are scattered all over the room, and we'll be scattered all over the hallway, so hopefully you don't have to wander far to find one of us. I also wanted to draw your attention, there's a lot happening. I mentioned the concurrent sessions. We will be repeating the concurrent sessions on day 1 into day 2 to give you the opportunity, because hopefully there's more than one concurrent session that's of interest to you. And if there are more, all of the resources will be available online on the Includes Network website. And so I'd like to kick off the paid programming. You can find those materials after the conference at www.includesnetwork.org. Our new website, you'll be hearing more about that later. And so there will also be videos of any plenary speeches and talks that are given. Those will also be archived on the includesnetwork.org website. Lastly, we will be, if you see in the program, we've talked about Birds of a Feather dinner. So we're encouraging people to find commonalities, come together and go out and have dinner. This is on your own. It's self-organized. We want to encourage you to build those connections, relationships, and take advantage of the time that we do have together. The last thing I want to tell you about is the concurrent sessions I mentioned. Make sure that you have stickers. You should have been alerted to those when you registered. If you did not, get a sticker when you registered for participating in one of the concurrent sessions. Please make sure to do that at the break. We're also social media savvy here, and so if you're tweeting, you can use the hashtag #IncludesConvening, And we also encourage you, if you're not already connected with us on Twitter, you can find us at @IncludesHub, at NSF Includes Hub. And then again, I mentioned our website. This is not just a website or a repository. This is also the central nervous system of the online community that we're building and that many of you are already a part of. And so I would encourage you to really use this as both a communication resource, a networking resource, and a resource for all the materials that we'll be engaging with during the convening and available afterwards. Now I'd like to welcome Dr. Sylvia James to the stage. She's the Deputy Assistant Director for the Education and Human Resources Directorate at NSF. During her tenure at NSF, Dr. James has also served as the Director of the Division of Human Resource Development and Lead Program Director for several EHR programs, including ISE, iTest, and Ascend. And I also just want to add that Dr. James is also one of the really great thought leaders and one of the many people within NSF that's been a real champion of Include. So I just want to thank you for that and welcome you.
Good morning, and thank you, Tim, for that warm welcome. As he said, I'm Sylvia James, Deputy Assistant Director for Education and Human Resources, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the first NSF Includes National Network convening. You may not think of this as the first convening because NSF Includes grantees have come together for meetings in the past. However, present in this room today are representatives not just from NSF Includes projects, but from many other partners and friends, including federal agencies, philanthropic foundations, nonprofit organizations, and other programs in the NSF Broadening Participation portfolio. We're all working to advance the shared vision of broadening the participation of traditionally underrepresented groups in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or STEM, and we're excited that you have come to share and collaborate with us over the next 2 days. Here to kick off our meeting with opening remarks is the NSF Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Fleming Krim. Dr. Krim was appointed COO of NSF on July 1st, 2018. He has a very distinguished record of accomplishments in research and education. He spent 40 years in the Department of Chemistry at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he is now the John E. Willard and Hildale Professor Emeritus. From 2013 to 2017, Dr. Krim served as NSF's Assistant Director for the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorate, or MPS. He has lectured around the world and published more than 150 papers. His original scientific work and teaching have earned many awards. Dr. Krim is a fellow of the American Physical Society, American Chemical Society, and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. He is also a member of both the National Academy of Sciences and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. If you think that's a lot, there's more. His full bio is in the pocket of your program. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Krim to the stage. Please join us.
Well, it's certainly a pleasure to be here, and the time I've had to chat with a few people already has been very energizing and exciting. So thanks for the introduction, and I'm delighted to warmly welcome all of you to the first Includes National Network convening, and I appreciated the explanation about how this was the first convening as opposed to the first meeting. As Sylvia said, I've served as Chief Operating Officer at NSF for almost a year, but I do have a longer history, having led the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorate from 2013 to 2017. I went back to Wisconsin as Emeritus Professor, flunked retirement, then the Director told me to come back here. But because I was here from 2013 to 2017, I was here during the inception of Includes, and as that idea was bubbling up and taking form. You know, we all know heroic individuals who do remarkable work in broadening participation in their departments or institutions. But those are often heroic individuals functioning alone or in a small group at one institution. The goal of Includes is to knit those heroes together into a network to share good ideas, promulgate effective practices, and amplify their impact. And this is really the first meeting where all of those pieces of that machinery are coming together and starting to move forward. NSF Includes is one of the National Science Foundation's 10 big ideas. The big ideas grow out of NSF's core mission to support fundamental research in science and engineering and education. These ideas rest on the deep foundation of research that NSF supports. These are ideas growing out of that core mission that are particularly apt for a push right now. They are ideas that are ripe for doing something big. 6 research ideas and 4 enabling ideas constitute the 10 big ideas at NSF. And NSF Includes is one of those 4 enabling ideas. Its goal is to maintain STEM leadership nationally and internationally through diversity, equity, and inclusion. NSF Includes is building the infrastructure to bring partners and networks together to broaden participation in STEM at scale. When I spoke to the EPSCoR group a few weeks ago about the big ideas, I used the map that all of you have seen that shows the launch pilots, the alliances, the project partners, and now the coordination hub that constitute NSF Includes. It's an impressive picture, and it hints at the power of a vigorous national network. Now, as we continue to expand the national network, I hope that you, in this meeting and beyond, will envision the success of the network and consider how all participants, federal agencies, university faculty and staff, community organizers, policymakers, and evaluators, can work to accomplish that vision. What are the great innovations? What great innovations does broader impact require? Who is not included in the current conversation? How must we expand the network to realize an inclusive, vigorous STEM enterprise? We're looking to you, the NSF Includes network, to catalyze change and make STEM more inclusive. Because this task is not simple, it's important that you use this face-to-face opportunity to learn from each other, to share what has and hasn't worked for you, and to find new ways to collaborate, and perhaps to form new partnerships. We at NSF hope that these 2 days inspire you to a renewed sense of purpose and excitement about Includes. The Coordination Hub and the NSF staff have carefully built a meeting agenda intended to connect each of you to the NSF Includes national network and to strengthen the network by connecting the participants to each other more strongly. We hope that you will also leave with a shared vision for the network, for the types of metrics that can capture the network's progress, and for the relationships among the members of the national network that can enhance the network. Please take advantage of the activities, concurrent sessions, affinity groups, and information shared by the 2 keynote addresses from Dr. Mack and Dr. Williams. Once again, welcome to Alexandria and to the NSF Includes National Network convening. Good luck for the next 2 days. You are doing important work. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Fleming, for that welcome. As part of our opening session, I've been asked to share with you an update on the progress that NSF Includes has made since the January 2018 PI meeting. Much has been accomplished as we work to build the NSF Includes national network so that we can achieve our vision of a U.S. STEM workforce that reflects the great diversity of our nation. At the beginning of fiscal year 2018, we funded, as was mentioned, the NSF Includes Coordination Hub. You'll meet the hub very soon, as they are next on today's agenda. You will see firsthand that the hub itself is a collaboration of multiple institutions with SRI International as the lead. The Coordination Hub is the support organization for the entire NSF Includes National Network, which you are all part of, facilitating the activities needed to build and maintain a strong national network. Their focus includes communication, technical assistance, and efforts aimed at developing shared measures to help amplify the results of your work, all of which you will hear much more about over the next 2 days. And this slide shows all the organizations that are a part of the Coordination Hub: WestEd, QEM, Equal Measure, EDC, Digital Promise, Georgia Tech, and ORS Impact, who's the external evaluator. NSF also funded the first cohort of 5 alliances in fiscal year 2018. We were extremely excited about that, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce each of those alliances to you. First, we have the National Alliance for Inclusive and Diverse STEM Faculty, or ASPIRE, which is led by the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities. The National Alliance for Inclusive and Diverse STEM Faculty, now known, as I said, as ASPIRE. This alliance, the strategy for this alliance is to improve professional development of and hiring practices for STEM faculty at the institutional, regional, and national levels. ASPIRE is helping institutions examine their practices and develop action plans for recruiting, hiring, and retaining STEM faculty from underrepresented groups. Their efforts are aimed at national systemic change for STEM faculty, STEM departments, disciplinary societies, and institutional leaderships. The ASPIRE Alliance is co-funded by NSF's Alliances for Graduate Education and the Professoriate Program, or AGAP. Will the representatives from the ASPIRE Alliance please stand? We'd like to recognize. Next we have the Computing Alliance of Hispanic Serving Institutions, or CASI. This alliance is working to broaden the participation of Hispanic students in computing fields. Led by the University of Texas, El Paso, CASI has a vision of increasing the representation of Hispanics that are employed and advancing in computing to 20%. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that the percentage in 2016 was 6.6%. So they have an ambitious goal. The CASI Alliance is co-funded by the NSF Centers of Research Excellence in Science and Technology Program, or CREST, and the Hispanic Serving Institutions Program. Will the CASI representatives please stand? Thank you. Next we have the Expanding the First to STEM Success Network, which is an alliance that builds on the work of the first 2 design and development launch pilot, which focused on improving STEM persistence in the first 2 years of college for rural first-generation students attending West Virginia colleges and universities. This collaborative effort is led by the Associated Universities Incorporated and the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and co-funded by the NSF Established Program to Stimulate Competitive Research, or EPSCoR. Will the first 2 STEM team please stand so we can recognize you as well? Slides quickly and you're not having a chance to read the focus and vision. You will learn more about all of the alliances during the next couple of days. Next we have the Inclusive Graduate Education Network, or IGEN. This alliance is a partnership of over 30 societies, institutions, corporations, national labs, and other organizations. Led by the American Physical Society, iGen is working to institutionalize inclusive evidence-based recruitment, admissions, and retention practices that promote the inclusion of women and underrepresented groups in doctoral studies in the physical sciences. iGen is co-funded by the Division of Physics and Mathematical Sciences Directorate, by the Division of Physics in the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorate, and NSF's Alliances for Graduate Education in a Professoriate Program. Will the iGen team please stand? Thank you. And next we have the final alliance, the STEM Core Expansion Alliance, which builds on the work of the STEM Core Initiative Launch Pilot. This is led by Saddleback College, and the alliance focuses on promoting advancement to calculus readiness. This program includes continuing education and internship opportunities in STEM. As a launch pilot, the initiative reached 15 community colleges in 3 states. As the Alliance expands the basic STEM core model to an additional 17 colleges and 5 states, the STEM Core Alliance is co-funded by the NSF Improving Undergraduate STEM Education, IU's Hispanic Serving Institution Program. Will the STEM Core Expansion team please stand? And to have you know who they are, because they're a major theme of this meeting, is expanding networks. There will be sessions that allow you to introduce yourself and what you do and identify possible collaborations to help maximize the impacts of your work. Also in the room are representatives from the 17 design and development launch pilots that were funded in the first 2 years of NSF Includes in fiscal years 2016 and 2017. As part of the NSF Includes National Network, launch pilots help to lay the foundation for collaborative strategies to address broadening participation challenges. In fact, launch pilots engaged 890 partners and over 20,000 participants in their first year of project activity, and this work continues. To encourage the continued engagement of launch pilots in the national network, NSF Includes announced a Dear Colleague letter calling for supplemental funding requests. The DCL was also a call to other NSF-funded projects to connect to NSF Includes. You can learn more about this opportunity in Dear Colleague letter with DCL 19-042, expanding the NSF Includes National Network. So if you're in the room and represent a design and development launch pilot, or DDLP, this is your introduction to acronyms. You'll hear them all very much over the next couple of days. So if you're a DDLP, will you please stand so we can see who you are? I want to mention a couple of other funding opportunities associated with NSF Includes, which we hope will help to expand the national network. We look forward to adding new alliances to the national network this fiscal year, and we're also adding partners from industry, philanthropic organizations, and other federal agencies. So the other alliances will be added through the first bulleted item that you see there, solicitation 18-529, which had a deadline of April 2nd, and we will announce those alliances before the end of this fiscal year, which is September 30th. Also in September 2018, NSF and the Boeing Company announced a $21 million partnership through which Boeing will invest $11 million to accelerate training and increase diversity in STEM fields. Boeing is the first business to contribute at a national level to NSF Includes. We hope there will be more. They contributed a $1 million gift, which enabled us to release the Dear Colleague letter 19-038 supporting the reentry of women and women veterans in the STEM workforce. This funding opportunity supports traineeships and conferences that focus on preparing women for reentry into the STEM workforce after a career break, especially women veterans. And we already talked about the final bullet item there, 19-042, the DCL for expanding the national network. We call it the on-ramps DCL because we really want the network to be a representation of all types of organizations that support broadening participation. In October of 2018, NSF co-hosted a STEM Funders Collaborative meeting with the STEM Funders Network. Representatives from over 50 government agencies and private funding organizations met to explore opportunities for collaborations that will advance broadening participation goals in STEM education. The meeting helped to generate excitement and interest in further engagement. During this convening, there were sessions focused on topics that emerged from the Funders Collaborative meeting, and a special session we'll have for federal agencies only to discuss collaborations that help to maximize the federal investment in STEM. So I would ask, if you're here representing a foundation or a federal agency, would you please stand? Thank you. In addition to the launch pilots, alliances, and the coordination hub, we also funded conferences, eagers, which are exploratory grants, and supplements under Dear Colleague Letter 17-111. That was our first on-ramps Dear Colleague Letter. So if you're here representing one of those activities, would you please stand? As you can see, it's been a very busy year. We've made strides as a national network, and we look forward to continuing the progress with conversations that will take place over the next 2 days. Thank you again for joining us in this national network convening. We look forward to advancing the cause of broadening participation in STEM together with all of you. Have a good meeting. Thank you.